Hi families. I'm going to talk about the packet a little bit today. This one's called Crossing the Finish Line, and this is an article like we've read on News ELA. So the first thing I noticed about this article is that it has an actual photo with a caption. Captions tell what the picture is. This is a picture of a marathon runner. Some of the areas I thought might be difficult for you when you're reading are the girl's actual name. So her name is Leah Tambellini. I also noticed when I was reading this over here, let me get rid of some of this other stuff. Whoops. Over here, there's an actual time. It says the world's fastest marathon runner finished the race in, and then there's some numbers here. So the first number, the 2, is the number of hours. Then there's a colon and then 03, that's minutes, so 2 hours, 3 minutes, and then the 23 stands for seconds. So 2 hours, 3 minutes, 23 seconds. When you go to do the questions, make sure that you go back and find the answers in the story. You can circle them, underline them, use a highlighter. Also make sure you read through all of the selections to make sure that you pick the best fit. It says, what did Leah Tambellini train for when she was 23? A says her first marathon. B says her first relay race. C says her first swim meet. D says her first baseball season. So go back in the story and find proof to your selection. Do that for all of them. Remember, when you come to something you have to write the answer to, make sure that you're using complete sentences and picking part from the actual sentence to help you write them. So for number 9, it says, describe how Leah feels when she crosses the finish line of the marathon or of a marathon. You might want to start this with the capital letter, saying something like, when Leah finishes a marathon, she feels, and then you fill the rest in. Make sure you're using the right punctuation, and you can even go back and check in your story to double check. When you come to the writing prompt, I wanted you to notice that this is a small moment story or a personal narrative, so you're going to use line paper if you have it, and it asks to write about a time when you were helpful, either at home, at school, in the community, or with a family member. So think of a small moment story and build the story using things like setting, character action, dialogue, internal thinking, like we practiced in class. Remember to use a good hook when you do your story. For the next part, it's basically more arrays. It says write a multiplication equation to find the number of shapes. When you see an array like this, you remember you first put how many rows first, and then how many per row. So we actually have 4 rows here with 4 things per row. So for this one, you would write 4 rows with 4 items per row, 4, 8, 12, 16. Your total is 16. This one here is just over here is 1 row, so that would come first, with 5 items per row, and the answer is 5. That's the total number or the product. When you get to this sheet, we're looking at 3 groups of 3 things, so 3 rows with 3 per row. You color in 3 here, and then another row of 3. That's 2 rows of 3, 3 rows of 3, so 3 rows of 3. The total number would be 9. For this next section, they want you to draw a table of boxes and then solve. So what we have here is 6 rows with 3 per row. So here's 1 row with 3, 2 rows of 3, 3 rows of 3, 4 rows of 3, 5 threes, and 6 threes. So you can count by 3s 6 times, or you can count by 6 3 times, and the answer would be 18 total. I think the rest of the packet is pretty self-explanatory. If you have trouble, you can always email me or send me a message on Remind, and I will reply. The social studies really focuses on Michigan landforms and bodies of water, which we have studied quite a bit. This should just be all review. I would go through and read the tables and the charts. You could even cut the answer key part, which should be in there, and kind of make it a matchup if you want. Here's a sample of the reference chart done for you. You could on note cards, or I said to cut this up, but I thought about it and I really don't know if that's a good idea if there's stuff behind it. But you could write Peninsula on one note card or one piece of paper, and then put the definition, like land surrounded by water, on three sides. And do that for each different landform, and then mix them up and play memory. That's one thing we used to do in class with that. So that's really just a suggestion. Of course, you don't have to follow that idea. Looking on to the science. Thankfully, the science looks a little easier this week. They're talking about animals and how they must fit into their habitats and their environment. And animals develop what we call adaptions to fit into their environment. And basically, that's what this is all about. I also noticed some pretty simple looking sheets on emotions and feelings and things like that in our packet. So I miss you guys, and I will be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.